my calypso. Forget the funk and the disco.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Oui Culture. Yes, it's Friday, and of course, that's what happens on Friday evening, right here on GBN Television 7 and 11, of course, K105 FM, and on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And it should be happening in your living rooms as well, because that's how we do the thing. All right, it's a pleasure as always to have you with us, and we will be keeping you company right up until it's 10. This evening we have a very, very interesting discussion for you as always. But of course, before we do that, it's always important to welcome the team. Yes, indeed. Doc, what happened, man?
Well, a day.
You there?
Yeah, man, a day.
What's
a next session, a next time with the people, and a next time with the team.
Right, lovely. Well, we have our guest tonight, but.
but actually, before you leave me, I just want to say, good night to all the listeners. I don't think I said that. All the listeners on all the various medium, we are here once again. So, pleasant night.
Yes, indeed. Well,
full house tonight.
Yeah, the Queen just joined us. So, hey, what am I going to jersey today? Let me see your jersey. What am I going to jersey today?
Win at life.
Win at life? Winning at life. Oh, yeah, but what? Heavy stuff. What happened, girl? Yellow is the code, right? Yeah, yellow is the code? What I read?
So, I'd like to say good evening to the viewers and listeners of GBN, K105 and Classic AM and GBN Live on Facebook, and all of you at, the different corners of the earth on a Friday evening. I'd like to say good evening to you and welcome to the Oui Culture program. Now, in terms of the early interference that has just begun, I don't know if I have a magnet for attracting people that like to interfere with me, but Reece is the code. Reece is the code.
All right. I beg your pardon. Finley, we look at the only man, the only part that I could lean on there, because you look at me right tonight.
How you call me?
Finley.
No, when you start, you say me as a what?
I guess, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. I guess so. I'm a visitor.
Yeah. Well, a JCB, you just come back.
If I'm a visitor, I think I'll be in good company, because the same way they say, we PM is a visitor to be here too.
Just go on holiday.
Yeah, see, just pass here. So when he come there, I'll put him in the visitors line.
Yeah, well, what do you mean? That's what you got to do.
Well, I took a little siesta. The truth is that I was kind of under the weather. But yeah, I missed 2 programs, and now I'm back. So let me hear what all you have to solve up.
Yeah, well. You see how the code lockdown it tight.
Age catching up with you. What's up with you having been under the weather for this length of time?
Well, age don't have nothing to do with weather. Young people are in weather.
Hey, you win.
Age and weather don't go.
It have nothing to do with weather.
Nothing to do with weather.
Whether or not rain falling or sun shining.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Anyway, folks, for the past weeks we've been talking about the funeral and death, and we were supposed to come back and do a little something, but at some point we don't get back to that. But this evening we going to sort of change gears a bit and look at something that in the how much years we did We Culture now, by? About 4 years? Or more than that?
4 already? Sounds close.
A long time.
4 already?
Are you counting the sabbatical?
Yeah, I don't count it.
How dare you?
But a holiday, when you walk in, hold on, when people walk in and they get holiday, that is still part of your working life, you know.
No. That was not holiday. That was a sabbatical. That was like.
Doc, if you remember, when we started We Culture, and NP was in power.
That's a long time, you know.
3 years ago. And
actually, it was close to COVID.
Well, there you go.
Was it 2020 or 2021?
By so long, I forget.
A long time.
I can't remember. I got to go back.
We had some serious discussion on the job when they played, so you had to be in COVID when it's 21. So it could be 20 we started.
Yeah, actually, I had the date right on the remember the fella they say is Doc what helped them get all kind of thing? During COVID, I'll go back and watch the date. I did date this. I go check the date.
You know what that remind me? Like we sung really old. I mean, imagine 4 of us here and we cannot remember the date. I mean, not even the date, the year. That's bad.
No, man,
I'm not joining you on that. No.
Which year we started?
No, because you see, there has been so many events and activities that has happened within that period that you can't blame us. You can't blame us for needing some kind of not landmark, but some kind of active event that happened that was very telling for us to remember. You can't blame us. I ain't taking that lack of memory thing.
You see what? There's a simple explanation for that. It's a simple case where, and I know Finley will agree with me, we can't recall. End of story.
I know for me, my memory does go and come busy.
You can't recall. You can't.
I just remember that when I started with you guys, I think it was like a 20th of August or something like that. It was a 20th of August. But I can't remember if it was during, I think it was during COVID. It was during COVID.
During COVID.
Yeah, so it's 2020.
But you came in, you came in a couple months after.
Yeah, it was.
It was a couple months, your memory going. It was no couple months, it was a couple shows.
When you came in, Reece?
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, it was 3. No. 2. We did 2, and then you came in. Yeah.
Yes, that one I know. I don't understand what's going on with Doc.
Yeah, actually, it was during COVID because We Culture came on as a result of the changing in some of our programming when we had moved the 6 o'clock news, joined, do one thing, and then but we had to fill in that 6 o'clock slot because remember the first program was at 6 o'clock. And
I remember when I had to go and interview the gentleman up in Victoria, it was that kind of situation that was happening.
Yeah, indeed.
So, Doc, you're on your own.
Yeah. Anyway, tonight we're gonna talk about in fact, we've been planning and promising for all the years we're doing this thing to talk about the impact that the Rastafari or Rastafarianism. Wait, there's a big word by Rastafarianism. Yeah, that's Jean. The impact that Jean had on our culture, and it has left some permanent marks. But before we do that, we plan our thing, right? We move from Doc, or Doc is having in by. Make that make sense?
Yeah.
Why you want us? Why we are not scholar?
Well, I don't know how to call it. I don't get that name yet. But
we just go with it. We don't get a name, man.
What I want to infuse for culture's sake, and the truth is that none of you, and that's how I want it to be. So it's our own secret. Nobody don't know, and then we show it here. So we look at a colloquial phrase, a word, or whatever that we don't say. Look at what the meaning of that word is. Alright? How we just use that word or that phrase, but also to find a colloquial similarity, a colloquial synonym, if you want to call it that, for that word or that phrase. Alright? And I want to kick out tonight because you see it's all a part of the We Culture thing. So my first phrase that I want to kick out with is before time.
Before time.
Before time.
Doc.
No, Godfrey, go on now.
Hold on. Doc, your first task here is to make a sentence with before time.
That was scholar, man.
Make a sentence. Listen, man.
Context first.
Make a sentence with before time.
And then make a sentence.
First of all, what I mean?
What before time mean?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Well, when Doc make a sentence, you go figure it out. That's the whole point that trying to find where you mean. Doc make a sentence with before time.
I find this one is straightforward, Reece.
They asked you.
I could volunteer you.
Man, Doc make a sentence with before time, no man.
Program there, you know. You come in with this volunteer meeting that you could volunteer me. Hello, we celebrating this.
Let me see. I think I want to go with more scholar, explain or try to see what before time really means. I don't know. It's hard now, but but before time is basically saying that we can even count how long this activity happened. I mean, it's so long, we can't even put a time frame to it. So,
Alright, let me just say that here. Let me just say something quick. Doc, before time, you would have been able to explain that was.
All right.
Yeah, right. Scholar, how talk this?
No,
I think you get it correct. You get it right. Yeah.
Before time. To me, before time speaks about a different era, if you want to call it that. Right? So, it's kind of a long time ago in a different kind of era. So before time, dark and last.
Yeah.
Before time.
Yeah.
And what is a colloquial synonym for before time?
Since Oyoho.
Nah, man.
No?
Oyoho is nah. Before time, the colloquial synonym for before time is Lane Kane.
Larago.
Lane Kane?
It's Lane Kane.
This is Lane Kane. And actually, it might have more than one, you know.
Well,
If I think.
But Reece answer is not bad now.
No, man. Reece answer is not good. Oyoho. And that
I find Oyoho kind of plays more on maybe where you living kind of thing.
Right.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you living in Oyoho. No, Oyoho is more like where you living, man.
No. Oyoho is behind God back.
Yeah, like where you living kind of thing.
Behind God back, Reece.
Yeah.
We don't know about all the way, but we don't say since Oyoho. So how since Oyoho is behind God back? I'm not saying that the context
could use it. I think you could use it in both contexts.
But I'm saying that we say since Oyoho.
Or scholar, what about since
God make man?
Since God make man.
Since God make man, since Kakatit.
No, forget Kakatit. That one is out of it. That wrong. Forget that. I get text with that. I get it wrong for that. But since
And since
I've also heard like like in the Baka Oyoho. I've heard that too.
Well, that is why I know it. Well,
Right?
that's why I said it kind of.
That too. But we also say since Oyoho.
Since
Yeah.
when? Since when?
Yeah.
Is when, I never hear about since Oyoho. Oyoho is a place.
All you know, they always behind and thing. Coco Rigi, Coco.
But you see, you have to understand too that guav they Oyoho, you know, so you can't.
No, you're out of order. You out of order with that.
Wait, we don't
You
talk
go
about
back
it.
and go wherever.
Wait.
Naga.
Travel any part of the world. Say Guav and say Tivoli and see where you're getting the reaction as to where we know.
Let me tell you where they.
You forget Guav is the capital of Grenada?
Close, they know you.
Yeah. Davi and this guy place them, they know you.
But I respect for Davi.
Don't you have this for Davi you are there? No, I don't know where Davi is. Listen, I forced Davi if people don't even know how to spell Davi.
I don't come out here. St. Andrews are the farthest kind of place, man.
Yeah. What you talking about? But each man is just there.
Where?
But Scala, not there you go.
Go away.
Not in Richmond you go, Scala.
No.
Where you went?
Union, by Union.
In Union or Pleasant?
Union.
I won't put
Not Laddick. Don't give Laddick that name.
By Union.
Scala going
You haven't played land.
Oh, Doc not going. Oh, you what? Doc going real. Oh, yo, that is behind God back.
Then got back.
Truth is that, as far as I'm concerned, Oyoho means is a place. Oyoho is not a place. So right
Yeah, Oyoho is a no. Oyoho is that place is so far. Is Oyoho is like you say in Oyo. That means the place is so far. It's not even
Yeah.
so far.
Oyoho, yeah. Alright, so that is one. 2.5 foot right. And the second one is a simple one. But what there? God is love.
God is love.
God is love, yeah. God is love. Well, you know we don't say that.
Don't worry, I don't want me to top. Come on, look at me.
But let me tell you, that one,
God is
I
love.
mean,
Basically, you said I leave that in your hand. Vengeance is not mine. I leave that in God's hand.
Yeah,
So God is love.
karma.
Yeah.
you will meet it.
Sometimes it could be.
Let me tell you, you will meet it up.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah, that
But sometimes, Godfrey, that is used in more than one way because if you are happy with some result, you could actually say God is love. But generally, it means that vengeance is not mine.
That
up to God's hand.
you feeling sorry for yourself. Somebody do something and you know they take advantage on you.
Yes, they take advantage on you.
And you say, alright, but God is love, man. God is love.
God is love.
Anyway. So Doc, you have to get yours for next week. Eh?
So let me see. But Godfrey has starting all the time, so then we can receive. You don't see
You
receive.
were starting no
The man started. Listen, hold on. I'll give you a whole week notice.
That you have an 8 to 4 and that I don't. He understands that. I come from a motorcade just now, you know.
And the motorcade was all in Oyoho. Tell him that, though.
That correct is right. All in Oyoho.
Anyway,
So,
we do plan to talk about the impact of Rasta on our culture, and I think we all agree, and I think we probably mentioned that some time ago when this actually came to Grenada, when it sort of surfaced, but. We go over to Doc. Let Doc give us a synopsis of the whole thing, and then we go take it from there. So, Doc, over to you.
So let me start with the phrase. So up front, people do not get confused. You don't have to be dread to be Rasta. So that is one of the common thing that is standing as a main explanation. So someone may have a dreadlock, but it doesn't mean that that person is Rasta. there are certain things fundamental about the Rastafari movement. As sometimes they don't want to be termed Rastafarianism because Rasta say they don't want to be involved in schism and schism. So a lot of what I call leaders in the Rasta faith, they don't use the term Rastafarianism. So the fundamental thing, main thing, just like Christianity, to be a Christian, you must be a believer in Christ. For us to be a Rastafarian, you must be someone that believes in the definition of Haile Selassie. He is God. Omniscient, omnipotent, the reincarnated Jesus is Haile Selassie. So that there's a fundamental belief of want to be a Rasta. The two main proponents of Rastafarianism never had dreadlocks. The two main proponents. And I am saying that to say, go way back, the Rastafarian movement was influenced by Marcus Garvey, the teaching of Marcus Garvey. And he had some serious quote on Rasta leave on the ideology or theories of Marcus Garvey. And then the other one is Leonid Howard. Leonid Howard is this guy in Jamaica, 1930, after the divination or the coronation, where most of the heads of state, main heads of state in the world went to Ethiopia for the coronation of Haile Selassie. Leonid Howard then, with three of his other brethren, declared that Haile Selassie is the reincarnated Jesus, or the reincarnated Christ. And so that is the basis for the formation of Rastafarianism, the Rastafari movement. So we could go into that field, or we could then look into Grenada. In Grenada, there are two main, what I call movement. One mainly in the St. George's area. I one time had a conversation with Rasnanan about that. I mean, he died now. And I just cannot remember exactly his story, but I know he was one of the early pioneers. But he also mentioned that the movement came via England, some of the English guys that came, because Rastafarian, the whole movement came to us, mainly through people that came from England that brought it down here. It was not directly from Jamaica. And again, the next trend came from Trinidad. So you have people like Cabwit and Califini, Palifi, and then you had people like Rasta Snake, mainly from the Montrose area. There was the very early men that portray Rastafarianism, Rasta in Grenada. We ask about the impact, but the Rasta movement from the beginning, they were seen as the scum of the earth. Today, it's hard to differentiate. Today, you might have PS going to their work in the dreadlocks, quote unquote, not Rastas, but in the dreadlocks. You have members of parliament in the dreadlocks. Again, some of them claiming to be Rastas, but the Rasta movement, more than any other movement, has influenced the black race in this last maybe 50, 60 years, more than anything else. So I thought that brief opening, I mean, there's a lot more to say, particularly about the formation, the early stage, the fact that, the village they formed when it was in Jamaica, etc. We could go into that if need be, but I leave it on for you guys to have input in terms of what took place. If we want to stick mainly to Grenada, we can do that. Because all I'm seeing in terms of that topic, we take more than one topic, but I don't know if we want to stick with one. Because in Grenada itself, we had to look at the persecution and the role Rastas plays, how they see marijuana. And in the early days, it was not really called marijuana, but how they see that. The influence of the Indian community in the Rasta movement, Rastafarian movement. etc. So I just said it to get any input, and then we could always take it there from there again.
All right, Scholars. Let me before I go to Reece, let me come to you. So when this whole movement actually surfaced in Grenada, as an individual, as a young fella growing up, what about that movement actually got your attention? And I'm talking general here. Either way, what about them got here?
So my very first experience, right, of Rasta and my oldest memories, there are certain things that...
Scholar, you're sounding a little low, eh?
Yeah, I find so.
Low?
Yeah, I find it sounding low.
You're sounding a little low. Maybe go closer to the phone, yeah.
Uno, dos, tres.
Yeah, we good to go.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last year the first.
Rastafari.
Fire. So my oldest memories, right, vivid, of Rasta and the Rastafarian movement and so on and so forth. First of all was cocoa, green cocoa, and crocodile. Now I heard Doc saying thing about Rasta. You don't have to be dread to be Rasta, and it's not bald head that make that song. You have to be you are dread to be Rasta. You know, bald head that make that song. Don't worry them, because if you think about it, the Rastafarian movement, it shaped our, and that's my early experience of it, in terms of the language that came with it. Alright? And I believe, funny enough, it was from Rasta that baldhead came. The whole term baldhead as a polar opposite to Rasta. Right? So when you think about Doc, for example, based on Doc's opening salvo, Doc trying to infuse that he could be a Rasta. Doc, you can't be no Rasta. You can't be no Rasta. Don't try that. That ain't working. Alright? And then you also had as a opposing term as well, the word Babylon. Right? Babylon. So if you think about it, the Rasta are two opposites, you know. The opposite of Rasta is Baalhead, and the opposite of Rasta is Babylon too. Babylon. Alright? So those are my oldest things. Fellas grating cocoa and putting it in the eyebash and going over the river and putting this thing to shake the natty. That was what you call the real Congo band. You see green thing coming out and so on. Maybe Doc or Reece, who was a Rasta, who was a Jah, could speak to the whole science of how it is that the cocoa and the crocodile as well used to be able, was a locking agent. Because now they're making all kind of nice locking agent. You have to buy it on Amazon and in pan.
And it's smelling sweet.
Sweet. When you had that natural locking agent. And how it is that you know, sometimes you sit and you wonder, who probably was that first person that found out that cocoa could do this thing? Cocoa had these properties, you know, and crocodile had these properties. I mean, is it that somebody experimented and found that? And what would make a man great cocoa and put in here? I mean, this thing. But those were my very oldest recollection. Everybody, all man turning Rasta, and you're going down by the river with your cocoa and your crocodile. Because the very first emblem of the Rasta is the natty.
The locks.
Yeah, the locks. That is where you're starting from. The rest will flow in and come into line. But the first thing,
the locks.
Yeah.
Right. So Reece, just before I come to you, I just wanted to say something on what Scholar said regarding the bald head. And it is very correct, because while bald head existed before, it was called by another name. I mean, I just kind of segue now like a bit. I don't know if you remember what the name used to be. Yeah?
I don't know.
Used to be a briner.
Okay, yeah.
And that came from the movie star Yul Brynner that had the bald head. So when you clean your hair, you take a briner.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then when Rasta came in now, the thing changed. So that was a definite impact on the culture. So Reece, talk to us, man, about the jar.
Okay, so a lot of what you guys said, I agree with. Especially some of what Scholar said. I was actually going to speak about that. The bald head and the Babylon. But I'm not on the same wavelength with Scholar in terms of they being two opposites to Rasta. For me, bald head is opposite to Rasta. And a bald head, it kind of evolved after a while, right? Because I did grow up in a Rastafarian family for from about age 3-4 to about my mid-teens, right? I am aware during that period that there were Rastas who did not have locks. They would probably not comb their hair as often or only comb it when they have to go to something where they needed to comb it. But their hair was very short. It was kept short and not necessarily locked and growing. So bald head, for me, was not about what you and Doc look like either. With clean head. A bald head could have been somebody who just didn't have locks as well. That's why I said it evolved. So you're either a Rasta with locks or you are bald head. But there became a time when you were a Rasta without locks, not a bald head. So it spoke to what you believe in, you being part of the movement and all of that at that point. Now Babylon, for me, it was an oppressive system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily opposite, because you may not have a problem with a bald person, but you definitely have a problem with the Babylon system. So that's just my take on it. You know, the opposite thing. Growing up, I remember, as one of you said, they were like the scum of the earth. You were looked upon as if like you did not belong. You were like an outcast of society because you didn't conform to the norms of being what was called groomed. So back in the day, King would have been a Rasta because he's not groomed, he's nasty. And there was all this talk about creatures living in your hair and all of that. That it amazes me. No, to see the amount of commercial dreads we have right now. Like we forget about all these things, all these negative things. You were stared upon. There was an association with marijuana. Growing up, my parents smoked, but we were not allowed to smoke. No way. Today, a couple of my siblings smoke, one or two, but nobody else smoke. And that's because even though we grew up in a Rastafarian family, they still considered some things to be adult decisions, adult practices, and it's not for children. So we weren't allowed to do that. Going to school, as children with locks, you were stared upon, you were picked on, you were called names. I mean, everything. And that is because of how society viewed Rastas. I'm listening to you guys even talk about it right now. And I remember how you would talk about Christianity, and when you would speak about Christianity, you speak about it in a most serious way. But when it comes to speaking about Rastafari, you are more relaxed. Some of it is more like jokes, because we never saw that as an accepted religion. We never saw it as when they say things like Jah Rastafari. It was a joke. We would end it with all sorts of jokey slangs at the end of it. We would change up things to say not Jah Rastafari, like you would just make fun of the religion. And then growing up again during the era of the PRG, you heard all the stories of what happened to people who are Rastas. I saw with my eyes a policeman squeeze a Rastaman's jaw to get out a roach. You know what a roach?
Yeah, man.
Right, a little stub, like the burnt out stub, right? That's to tell you, that's how much Rastafarianism was not accepted, and the Babylon system was given the right to brutalize, to dehumanize, to treat Rastafarians or anybody that look like they're sporting a Rastafarian look, to dehumanize them in that kind of way. But my biggest takeaway from the Rastafarian movement is Black consciousness. But before Black consciousness, atonement. Very much at one with nature. So everything that the diet was about from the land.
I tell.
Processed food, the utensils that they eat with came from the land. Like everything came from the land. So that's my biggest takeaway. Today, we are begging people to eat from the land and to avoid processed food. A lot of the teachings or the practices, I should say practices, because it's not teachings because nobody wanted to listen. So a lot of the practices, they were very much healthy. They were things that we should have been following, things that we are following right now. The herbs. Scholar spoke about who probably came up with this thing, Coach O'Neill, this kind of thing. Maybe it's ancestral, maybe it came with us, maybe it's part of all the herb therapy that Africans knew about and cured massa and children when they had whatever. Maybe it came like that. Maybe it's through exploration. Maybe they didn't have soap, and they realize when they break this thing, it gives them a kind of sticky kind of thing, and they rub it, and it's okay, and it seems to work. So maybe that's how they got it. I don't know, but we are seeing today that a lot of our products have aloe and so many different herbs, mint and all these things, right? And the more herbs they have in them now, it's the more expensive it is, the less affordable they are. So I think there's some kind of, maybe apology is a strong word, but there's some kind of review that needs to happen where Rastafarianism is concerned, just as we're talking about reconciliation for who and who, the PRG. Maybe there's some reconciliation that needs to happen as well, so that we could have an appreciation and understand. And yes, apologize to the people that you dehumanized, humiliated. If you have to arrest them, they got a different kind of arrest. It was a scrunch up, dragged by the hair. It's like they were given permission to just humiliate people like that. So I'll stop there. Right. I can take up the whole show.
Yeah. Well, we're coming back. Two things I wanted to just. Yeah.
Let me ask Livingston. No, not Livingston. Let me ask Reece a question or two. Mm-hmm. Based on how oration. based on not oration. Based on how Iration.
Right.
Let me ask Reece a question or two. Who determined that somebody is a Rasta? The person themselves or society? So that's the first thing, right? Because you see, man, what do I lax, they do I think they Rasta. I don't subscribe to that. So I want to know who determines you could just call yourself a Rasta and that is it? Or
I think
is it a widely accepted thing? Because I have never ever in my life, and I live in longer than you, ever think of man we gotta hear bad them is Rasta. I never think about that. So maybe there's a guap thing, I don't know.
No.
It could very well be that it's a guap thing. Hold on, that is one.
Well, what happened? You would have memory to remember the next one. Let's take it in strides now.
Before I forget. Look, you make me, right now you make me forget.
Yeah, right.
Right now you make me forget. You. Two, the smoking of the herb.
Herb.
Yeah.
Sensible, man.
If you are Rasta and you don't smoking herb, you're not a Rasta.
Okay.
Rasta to smoke herb. You just have a hairstyle or your thing, you're not Rasta. The herb.
There's a third?
Comes to, yeah. You have a third here. Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Oh, gosh.
Like I had a pen and paper?
You went right. You went start right.
That's why you're choking.
Anyway,
You need some orb.
I was happy. I will hit you back. I will hit you. Answer that question and I will hit you back.
Okay. All right. So I think the first one you were asking, you were saying that never in your time have you ever heard of someone
Who determined is a Rasta?
Rasta. And I think you answered the question based on your statement. Never have you ever. You just haven't ever, and that's because you were not involved. But you did not associate. So you did not know. Because you had society's view or how they judge. What you had was that a Rasta had to have locks, so that's all you knew. But I grew up in it, so I know differently.
So
I remember. Let me tell you. I remember.
So I would answer.
Right. So I'm getting that today. I remember there's a guy named Cecil Peters. Grew up around him. His father was a principal of the Anglican school during the time when my mother went. So he, my mother, my father, I think his sister is Elizabeth Forsyth.
Yeah, I know Liz.
Right? Good. He was a Rasta, but he did not carry locks. He associated, right? But he did not carry the locks. And
You just smoke weed?
I don't know.
Well, you know that shot.
I don't know. Right. So back to what you were asking. Whether it's a person that determined they are Rasta or society, I think it's both. Before society see you as a Rasta, you would have become a Rasta by way of your thoughts, your ideology, what you do, how you pray, like all of these things, what you eat, changes that you made in your life, you would have become that. And a lot of them, they become Rastas before their hair start to lock. So to you, it could have been somebody that is a Rasta, become a Rasta, but the hair ain't start to lock yet. So you can't say they're not a Rasta because you don't see the hair. That is why, is it Morgan Heritage? Morgan Heritage, I think you don't have to be straight to be Rasta. Right? So, and on the other hand, so that's you. On the other hand, there's society that would accept you because you don't sport the look, not knowing that you have all the ideologies and all that, and maybe by the time they find out you have the ideology, you start becoming the person who I don't understand how he comes, so you start becoming that person. Like he changed, he got mad now. Now your second question was.
Hold on, Reece. Hold on, I don't know you. So for based on the force, and that
I don't know. That moderator is a joke.
In fact, I invite
this is tantamount to abuse.
No, not abuse with that.
Well, you was that.
I don't get to answer the second question and you call me again.
I don't satisfy with the first answer, so I want to
Joe! Rastafari.
There are certain fundamental.
Hold on that before you fundamental. Hold on.
Oh gosh.
You see, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Who determines if you are priest is a priest?
Who determines if you what?
If a
priest is a priest.
Is a priest. And let me ask you, if you start studying for your little priest and whatnot, you a priest since that time?
Let me tell you something, You're not going there with me. You know why you're not going there with me? Because you're trying to compare something that is accepted, that is organized, have the processes on how they do what they do and how you become, to something that is not accepted, practically was not allowed to practice.
Not conventional, Reece. Not
we're not going to even talk about all the raiding of tabernacles and all these things and them, right? They were not allowed to be that way. We're not going to compare that. Don't try that. Don't try that.
Can I get back to what I'm trying to say? There are certain facets and certain things.
No, Scala,
so, for example, I never see a priest without bone.
Scala, let me answer that. There are certain fundamentals that. Hold on, Scala. There are certain fundamentals that would determine you to be a Rasta. And the first one, you have to be a believer that Haile Selassie is the reincarnated Christ. That is the first. That is the fundamental. The second thing.
Hold on, wait. That is Rastafarianism. Now, because I wanted to delineate this thing, you know. You have Rastafarianism. You're Rasta. You're Rasta man. Rasta man is two different things.
Yeah.
Scala, let me answer now. You don't mean to answer.
Rasta man, no. According to society, you're a Rasta man.
So let me answer. And I will answer 2 in 1. I would answer 2 in 1.
Rasta scholar.
So the first one is, I'll say, the belief in Haile Selassie. The second one is that we are the universal family. Rasta join what I call the universal family, meaning the black family. That there's a belief that irrespective of where you are born, once you're a black man, you are African. And so you could be born in the diaspora, but you are an African, and your brother and sisters are the black people. So there is a fundamental belief. Rasta believe that anybody that opposes that system for the unification of Africa is Babylon. So the Pope, the school system, the church, the court system that is geared to oppress black people are termed Babylon. And so you could also be black and you're part of the Babylonian system because you are oppressing your own. So that's is Babylon. So when we mention that it's not
Babylon,
because the teaching of Rastafarian or the philosophy or ideology is basically called levitation. Wow. So it is different. You did try to make the comparison with a priest. And so Rastafarianism is the only movement in these last 200 years that is spread not by books or by a structured pyramidal structure, but it has basically been spread through music. It is the only one of its kind. So it is loose association of members. So you cannot say that you go to a church, you get baptized, or when you have to do this and you have to do that, then you become a member. And that evolved because every association, every movement, movement of resistance for black people, the leaders got assassinated, they get killed, they get maligned. So the Rasta movement emerged in a way with several tentacles to operate in society, but is not in a formal way. So the example, when we again coming back to the whole idea of the dreadlocks, the founding father Leonard Howard, who built the Pinnacle in Jamaica and went back into what they call Mother Nature, actually had a self-contained society, was several times raided by society because the Babylonian system never would accept the free expression of any blackness. It is more dangerous than communism as far as they're concerned. So Rastafari
of slavery
to society simple because the idea one, that they do not accept the white Jesus, and so they do not accept the authority of the church. They do not accept the authority of the court. They do not accept what is so-called conventional, because this system was geared to keep us in oppression.
So, Scholar, hold on. I want to. Hold on. Scholar, I want to take on Doc for a little bit here.
There we go.
As it relates to and in support of Scholar with the being a Rasta and being lax. Now, Doc, do you believe, though you spoke of the Babylon system being anything that is opposed to the belief of Rasta as relates to the unification of black
African
people and all of that? Do you believe that there is any form of foundation or any form of relationship with Rastafarianism or Rastafari, whatever it is, and the Bible?
Well, yes. Okay, so one of the thing that led Leonard and them to accept the Bible was when Marcus Garvey, it is stated Marcus Garvey said, "Look unto Africa. A king shall arise out of Africa. He shall be crowned, lads of lads, king of kings, conqueror from the tribe of Judah."
Bulbok and Dopik Ankara. Yeah, you forgot about.
Right. But it helped me finish it. So, but be that as it may, at the coronation of Haile Selassie, who traced his root to King Solomon, it is the most unbroken royal blood for over 3,000 years. And when it was foretold and he was crowned, that is why you see photos with, I don't know if it is real or if people interpret it that like the queen and all, genuflected to Haile Selassie. So Rasta saw that, and mind you, in Africa, when Africa was divided, it was the only free land in Africa. The only land that was never colonized was Ethiopia.
So that
the point I'm making.
Yeah.
So I'm making the point to show that they use the lineage and the prophecy as showing that this is the reincarnated Christ.
So let's fast forward a bit, or maybe backtrack even further, because what I'm getting to has to do with what is referred to in the Bible as the Nazarene vow, which speaks specifically to the growing of the hair without combing it. So my thing is, if all that is the case, then how is it that you could be a Rasta and don't have you flowing locks, which is a mark of the Nazarene vow?
Well, that could be so, because like everything else, Godfrey, all religion pick and choose what aspect of the Bible. But the founding father of Rastafarianism, well, let us say two, going back to Marcus, whose ideology Rasta is built on, and then going back to Leonard Howell, who formed the pinnacle and formed the first main village of Rasta. He did not. None of them had locks.
But this is my confusion, and this is my confusion.
I also agree. I also say that one of the tenets, one of the almost the fundamental belief, one of the belief, I wouldn't say fundamental, of to being a Rasta was also being dreadlocks. But coming to the question of dreadlocks, the first dreadlock time that was recorded in this part of the world was in 1841 in Dominica. They were basically called the Negri Marron. They went up into the hills, and that was the first sign. But do you also know that in 1952, when they was fighting the war in Kenya, again, they were called the Mamas. These guys and them were dreadlocks. But come back home in Grenada, Mother Annie, Tan Popo, these people coming from this line were the spiritual Baptists. They had locks, they had dreadlocks, but they were not Rastas. So the idea of dreadlocks, even in the early days, I don't know if you knew Mother Annie had locks, Godfrey?
Yeah, Mother Annie was my best friend.
But you know she was not a Rasta. So the point I'm making, so dreadlocks had this spiritual kind of connotation long time ago. And most of the Rastas do accept it in the sense that is a show, a rebellion against society. Yeah. You know, or in conformation with...
How much gets locked to Pogo and go Junior?
I don't think so, scholar. I don't think so.
Mother Annie
And Mother Annie was way before time. But I'm just saying.
Mother Annie just had she long hair and she didn't think in it.
Mother Annie had locks. Godfrey from Tivoli. Scholar,
so let me put that. She didn't go well. It depends on what you refer to as locks. Her hair was unkempt, so to speak, and it just remained
Mother
tight.
Annie had locks.
That came after a while, Livingston.
Well,
That didn't just come. That didn't come just.
Knowing that she had locks.
Godfrey,
But
I saw
she was not considered a Rastafarian.
Hold on, Livingston. Hold on, Godfrey. You see, you don't know what you could read things from. Godfrey don't know nobody had to call and say nothing.
Before you do that, I want to ask Godfrey a question.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the Corinthian church and stuff, what does the Bible say about women and their hair covering? Do you put that question to them like what you just did about the Nazarene vows?
No, hold on.
Women covering their hair, because today women are entering the church, and I'm not talking about the hats.
No.
I'm not talking about the hats,
No, I understand.
On their hair.
No, I understand what you're saying. But my question was trying to connect, because he was speaking about Haile Selassie and the coronation and all of that. But my question was specifically in reference to any relationship in the Bible, which was long before Haile Selassie, because it does speak of the Nazarene vow, which, from my understanding, has close connection to the whole Rasta. Rasta have spoken about that and taken the Nazarene vow. So that was the context of the question.
He
said also that part of the principles of Rastafarianism is to not accept a white Jesus. I don't think it said accept Jesus. It said not accept a white Jesus, because the Bible speak about the skin color and the hair texture, of Jesus and that kind of thing. And there are religions that would tell you that Jesus was black, based on the description, whatever, right?
But that in itself,
so yes, there's a lot of connection with the Bible.
But that in itself is a contradiction, because and that can go on to a whole different conversation.
It's contradictory
because the Bible, because the Bible
has statues of white Jesus.
I am not even concerned about what the church have. My concern here would now be the writing of the Bible. My question here would have to do with the actual penning of that document that is referred to as the Bible, or that 66 book. Because
the Bible said his skin was bronze and burnt.
But who wrote that?
Well, it's in the Bible, Godfrey.
No, I'm asking you. But who wrote that?
Why are you concerned about that? If Haile Selassie is after the Bible was written, why are you concerned about that? I find like there's a connection. If the Bible was written before and it speaks to the bronze skin and the wool hair and all that, and here comes a movement that says no, I am not accepting the white Jesus. I don't have a.
Listen to me. I don't think. I think you're missing what I am not questioning any of that and Haile Selassie. I am just trying. You see, my thing is, one, if we're saying, or if Doc agrees that there is some connection with the Bible and Rastafarianism, which deals specifically with black people and the power of black people. We're talking about a document that was written by who? And this is where, and if we establish that, this is where a lot of the questions would arise, because the Bible in itself is what practically portrays a lot of the things that the so-called religions now put towards us. And we spoke just now about the...
Godfrey, I want to ask you a question just for clarity. Godfrey, is it that you're asking who wrote the Bible or who translated the Bible?
Maybe both.
Godfrey,
for that matter.
Godfrey, what you're asking a question, but I'm saying the fundamental belief of Rastafarian came from the teaching of Marcus Garvey. They used the Bible, but it didn't start as out of a Bible study. It came out of the need for the black nation to preserve. It came out of the teaching of Marcus Garvey. So the Bible was used maybe to to give credence to consolidate, what they teaching. But basically, the fundamental belief of Rastafarianism was not biblical based in that way.
Well, that's what I asked. I was asking you about the relationship, the connection, I made specific reference to the Nazarene vow because I know that is something that is big with the movement, and it speaks specifically to the long uncombed hair.
The Nazarene vow was not there for Rastas came in 1930. So the Nazarene vow is there for all the other churches, all the other faiths. So let us just bear that in mind.
That I don't know about.
I just call
anyway, calls you could. I exhaust my thing, so you could have.
I tell you, long, let me take some call and everything. All of us are having a program.
So let's go. Let's go to the telephone.
Meeting we having?
We Culture. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening, caller. Mm-hmm.
Good night. We see Godfrey and Scala and Livingston. Yes, this is a good topic. I just want to make a little contribution.
Sure, go ahead.
On the Rastafari movement. Because the Rastafari movement is an anti-colonial movement and it started. And as the years go by, it evolves and it becomes, in this modern day, to be known as Rastafarism. For example, one of the main preaching of the movement that led to the modern day Rasta is a man by the name of Paul Bogle. When he say cling to the black, and the many members of the Rastafari faith back then use the Bible in their development. Even the dreadlocks, it came later on because the Mau Peter forces saw with locks and then they start knocking up the hair. Even Selassie come in late in the movement. So there is a book on Rastafarism. The Jamaican writer Robert Campbell. He write a book on Rasta named Rasta and Resistance from Marcus Garvey to Walter Rodney. He even come to Grenada and do some research on the Rastafari movement because he had about 400 Rasta took part in the revolution too. So it's a long story about the Rastafari movement, but I just want to make this point to that because there are a lot of miseducation on the movement. But there is writings there to research and get more information on the Rastafari movement.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, caller. Thanks a lot indeed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. The number is 435-2041. Reece, we have anything on the WhatsApp platform that we could?
Not really in relation to the topic. It was more about our discussion on when We Culture started.
Okay.
Apparently, Google say it was the 24th of November, but that's not true.
Google, I know.
Yeah. So Godfrey, as a wait for call, just one quote from Marcus Garvey. He said, "The people with all the knowledge of the history is like a tree with all the roots." A second quote: "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And all these were regularly quoted from in terms of Rastafarianism.
So we have a caller. We Culture. Good evening. Hello. We Culture. Good evening. Hello. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead.
I just want to say hello up to all of the Rastas on the show. And to all of the Rastas in St. Vincent, I would like to know if the Rastas partake in the recently held elections. And a topic I really would like us to, I need some information on, and it's slightly different. Is it okay for leaders to go on campaign on, in other islands during the elections. To me, I don't know, it's something that is spoken of a lot, and we need a little education on that. So like St. Vincent, if Benita could go, or St. Vincent come on our platform, I believe we need a little discussion on that. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Godfrey, I have a comment here on the the YouTube. Renwick Harry said Rasta culture in Grenada was a continuation of black consciousness in the Caribbean in the 1970s.
Yes, Black Power. Yeah. I that thought did cross my mind, indeed.
That you know is Renwick Harry?
Renwick Harry? I'm not sure who it is. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure who that.
So good night, my brother.
That fella from Poetry?
Yeah, my brother in Poetry, Renwick from Montrose. He used to teach at T-Body RC, Renwick Ferguson and him.
Oh, okay.
Renwick. Good night, my big brother.
Right. So let me just ask. So as just kind of going back a bit, and I want to go back from where we take scholar with the locks and the weed and so with Rasta, right? With Rasta when it came, and just going back when it came, so it did not only come with the locks and the weed, and a scholar said I think a number of things came first. The locks, and then there was the language of Rasta. There was the mannerism, the way they walk. Well, we knew that they had given up the Babylon clothes and Babylon wares and all of that, and they went natural, right? But the language of Rasta, scholars.
Okay.
No, let that.
No, go ahead. I go.
But since all you're fighting about going ahead, let me just say that yes, there were Rastafarianism was a radical movement. There were people who became so at one with nature that even in the latter part of my involvement as a child from a family like that, you saw people who started wearing like straw clothes and stuff. That's how extreme they became, right? But I think what was most telling about their clothes was that it was cotton, it was a lot of dashiki. When you saw a Rasta, you saw like a representation of African liberation, what African liberation day would look like. So they dressed in a lot of dashiki and a lot of African prints kind of clothing, which gives an association about what Doc was saying, that what was the purpose of Rastafarianism based on Marcus Garvey's teachings and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Rasta, if this is not just a print, but
Tala, you low again. You low, Tala, you low.
Yeah.
You start. You're gone low. Low.
Very close.
I didn't so come on again. The idea is that there was also, if you think about it, the tam.
Yes.
Yep.
The tam.
Right.
But that would cover the locks.
They used wool.
Because the locks was kind of, in a way, I find a little sacred, Because there are some Rastas you do. Because Doc, for example, Gleans. I never see Gleans locks.
Yeah.
There was a time when they would let down their hair, but a lot of times it was covered, and even the tam was made of wool, and the colors was very much about the typical colors of the African nation flag. So you had like a lot of red, yellow, green, black. Ethiopia.
Right. So Ethiopia, and just some big. You want to say something, Scott? Just some basic information.
Let me say a two little thing. Because you see, I didn't finish it Reece here, and I just take the thing and I just go. I the question I do tonight, I the question.
You're doing a better job than the host, because the host sitting down there and let you abuse me.
I the question.
You're the real host. Go ahead.
Because what is that about the host?
Go on, Scala. I have a lot to say still. Go on.
Right. So let me forget to see. So the in terms of the language, right? I think the Rastafarian movement shaped the language, not just of Grenada, but the Caribbean on whole, right? And up to today, we see all of the vestiges of that language still manifesting.
Yep, it's a permanent one. Permanent.
We speak, anytime you speak in terms of I, then you know, because I was a prominent vowel in the Rasta language.
I.
You know, I remember the other thing is say I give me I street.
Me I dream.
And me. So it was always I that been whenever I say I bash. Right? And me there was a popular saying where you say a tongue twister.
Let me tell you what it is. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Is it the Ites green and gold?
No. Yeah, something about me eye, give me eye, I have to hold for the eye, but me eye, take me eye, and joke up me eye.
I and I.
Huh?
I and I.
Yeah, some kind, but it's a lot of I and I and I and I and I. And as children in school, we used to say it fast. You know, just as I was in black blood.
Yeah.
I tell.
You stand to tie up yourself, right? So a lot of this, even in terms of the way you fire is a popular thing in the Rastafarian vernacular, fire and bone and all of these things, right? After fire, as you chant down
Babylon.
Right? And that is the next thing about Babylon and ballet that I wanted to talk to Reece about, because I don't agree with this whole thing about Babylon as being. Babylon is the opposite in
No, it's not an opposite.
No, Babylon is oppression.
I tell you what I say. Because a Rasta can't be a Babylon.
Because the Rasta is living in righteousness.
Exactly.
But
so
even
opposite.
No.
You could be a bald head and not an oppressor. That is why police, right, back then, based on how police used to be treating Rastafarians, they used to call police Babylon.
Bondong Pope, Bondong Vatican.
Yes.
These are the Babylonian system. These are the Babylonian system.
Yeah,
right?
It's a system.
And the Catholic Church was also, it came in for its own degree of fire from the Rastafarians, right? So fire upon Rome.
Yeah.
Caesar and Income. As a matter of fact, I used to believe that Pope Paul, well, based on my holy thing with Rasta, I used to believe that Pope Paul was the Antichrist, because at some point in time, Rasta made you believe that Pope Paul was the Antichrist.
And what changed your mind?
Yeah.
I want to know too.
But listen, Pope Paul is not a specific Pope. Pope Paul is any Pope. Pope Paul is any Pope.
Listen again. You hear stories about how the Pope had blessed the guns for wars and what happened in Rwanda, how they stayed away, and all these things, right? They made no moves, and a lot of it was directed towards African nations. So again, we want to know, why is it that you're no longer? Is it that Rastafarian movement is no longer that listened to or whatever? What made it? Why now you kind of don't think he's the Antichrist? Or I'm not saying he is. I just want to know.
So Scholar says something there. Scholar says something that I want.
But Doc, hold on. He's been grueling me.
Right.
I ask him a question. Let him answer it.
What is the question you asked me?
Why is it that you said that you're used to Rastas had you thinking in the past that the Pope was an Antichrist? What changed for you now?
Pope dead or more years what Antichrist. I used to think Pope Paul couldn't have dead.
But Popal, you see, but scholar, the difference here. Popal is not, but Popal wasn't. But let me tell you, when they refer to Popal, they wasn't just referring to the Pope with that name, you know. Popal is any Pope.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
But I'm telling you, Popal is any Pope.
That's right. So that one.
Popal is any Pope.
I was very, very disappointed.
When Popal dead.
But I tell you,
You're only having me blaspheming here tonight, eh?
There was also another facet of Rastafarianism that we didn't speak about. And Reece speak about it in terms of the diet and so on and so forth. And the fact
But we have to talk a lot about that.
Right, they never eat meat. You see, that's why I want
and they used to weak, you know, you blow them so.
Watch now.
Ask King if he diet is close to a Rastafarian diet.
Who that?
Ask King.
Rastafarian used to be.
They don't eat salt.
Because of the salt.
Ask King if his diet is not close to a Rastafarian diet.
And they used to get real thin and thing there.
So,
but and I think some of the go ahead.
Can I say something earlier on, and I want to bring it to the attention. Rastas always talk about fire and fire burn, and if you look at it, there's a pattern that has been with us since slavery, talking about fire and fire burn. That is how we see the expression from the Yoruba. We say Shango, because Shango was the god of thunder. So it's the same slave. When we fight against this system, we see fire burn down Babylon because Shango, the god of thunder and lightning and fire. So when you Rasta see fire, we continue that same trend. So I want us to bear that in mind.
Not just that. Hold on, Doc. Before you go further, not just that. Buba told you all in song. Fire is a purification.
Yes, right. But again, our next thing we must remember when we mention about the clothing. Everything about the Rasta was to fight against the Babylon system, and everything was the Rasta was to embrace our creativity. They describe the philosophy of Rastafarianism as escapism, meaning we don't confront the system because you never know of any Rastas that pick up gun and basically challenge the system. There were some Rastas that fought in the revolution, but basically the approach to liberation with the Rastafarian movement, was to go away, to stay away, to be apart from the Babylon system. So Rastas went into the hills. They wanted their own clothes. They wanted to make their own food, and they go back to the soil, seeking independence. Again, going back to the whole Garvey right movement, is the same philosophy that is today making wave in Africa that we consider to be Pan-Africanism. So people like Kwame Nkrumah, and of course Kwame Nkrumah, Selassie, NASA, they are the ones that form what they call the AOU, Organization of African Unity, to try to bring Africa together. You understand? So I am saying all that to say Rasta has influenced the Grenada Revolution, the movements of all black liberation is Rasta. The greatest concentration of Rastas right now is in South Africa. And I just want to maybe just one verse in a song, and until the philosophy, which was one is superior and another inferior, is finally and permanently disoriented and aborted, everywhere is war. No, that was.
You want to talk about Rastafarianism, Rasta's impact on the revolution for you. Your partner in the back there, your ballet partner.
But Rasta, but no. But so you see, this whole song by Bob Marley was a speech made by Haile Selassie at the United Nations. So Haile Selassie was not just an ordinary man. That's why we could have a whole topic about Rasta and the revolution.
But it is also widely believed that Haile Selassie was one of the world's prominent oppressors of his own people.
Godfrey, every black leader that did anything for the people was demonized.
So hold on. So are you hold on. So you're saying no. Are you saying
Godfrey, who told those stories? Who told those stories?
What?
Who wrote that?
Who wrote that? But
Yes.
you know, and I'm glad you asked that, because and this is why earlier when I asked you about who wrote the Bible, then there was no answer forthcoming. And
No,
and you
I
see
don't know who write Bible.
well, that's the
I
point.
can't-
But I
cannot
don't even
go back
I don't
in
know.
time and
But
tell you about that.
So
So
yeah,
what you
but
saying about Haile Selassie, God?
no, I'm asking you if what I said that was widely believed, is it true or not?
I believe that
When
there
it
was some
comes to
atrocities in
Western, when it
Ethiopia.
comes to Western media,
Yeah, I believe there
Western
was some
writings
atrocities.
and all that, you have to take this thing and then with a pinch of salt.
grain of
I
salt,
mean, look at what is happening today in the world, right? Look at what is happening in Venezuela, Venezuelan waters. Look at what is happening in Israel, right? Do we see those news on Western media? Not a thing.
But not
That
only
means
that,
that doesn't even
Reece.
exist. And
Not
then
only
they're going to
that-
come with their propaganda media as the narrative that they want to put out there for us. And those of us who are
Nelson Mandela was a what?
questions,
Nelson
nothing,
Mandela
we're
was
gonna
a
believe
terrorist.
it.
Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. Gaddafi was a dictator.
Yes.
That is what they make us feel. Every leader that fought for Marcus Garvey-
So hold on. So Gaddafi was a terrorist.
Godfrey, they has
No,
not
I'm
been a
asking.
leader.
I'm asking.
No,
And the answer is no. The answer is no.
Okay.
Not been a leader so progressive as Gaddafi in recent time. There has not been. Gaddafi was killed because Gaddafi wanted to unite Africa. I mean, I can give you countless things that he did. When they went for Gaddafi, the first thing they did, Gaddafi brought water to the dam. The first thing they did was to bomb the dam because he was bringing water to people in the desert. Gaddafi wanted to have a goal to ensure that they have a unified kind currency in Africa, and they kill him for that.
Okay.
No,
Isn't
that,
that
I mean,
the
no.
reason why there's all this threat on the life of Ibrahim
Read
Traore?
about Gaddafi.
It's the same
There has
reason.
not been such a progressive leader as Muammar Gaddafi. But he wastes everything, everybody that wants
so-
for us.
So you say I could read it. Who wrote it?
Godfrey, just read any book.
No, I'm asking you who wrote it. I'm asking you who wrote it. I'm just asking who wrote it.
I mean,
There's not one book, there are many.
Who wrote it?
Kala, there are not one, there are many.
Who wrote them? Who wrote them?
Go answer them.
Huh?
People
Don't
read.
answer them. because
Doc,
they don't
Doc, let me tell you something.
They
No.
don't
Let me tell you something,
question
Doc.
the
Let me tell you something.
Don't answer
As much as I agree with you and Reece that the West tailors thing to suit their purpose and their convenience, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. And mind you, I am not, and mind you, no, hold on. And mind you, I am not saying that many of our black leaders, while of course there are two sides to every coin, they have not done well. But I'm saying, when you would tell me that Gaddafi was a dictator, I mean, I can agree with you.
When I tell you he was not,
Yeah.
Godfrey was
There's, watch me. There's good and bad in
Gaddafi has-
everybody.
But
There's
exactly,
good and
exactly.
bad in everybody.
But do not, because that conversation could go all about. Do not make it look, and I know how you feel about the African thing and all of that. Fine, and I'm on board with that. But do not make it look as if everything Africa is good and everything West is bad. No. I ain't subscribing to that.
I don't think he was doing
I'm not
that.
doing that.
I don't think he was doing that.
No.
You are being sensational,
Yeah.
Godfrey.
No, I'm not being sensational.
No.
I'm being realistic.
So now let me tell you, I agree with you because you know how easy thing. But let me ask that a question. No, tonight is the question. How long did Gaddafi rule for? Gaddafi
He was 20.
How long?
I think he was 26 or 27 when he became president. He could have been as much as 40 years, Kala, I'm not so sure. He could be over 30.
Wherever a man leading ruling people for 40 years. Look Gonzalez make out 25. Look what they do Gonzalez.
Yeah.
So to rule for 40 years means that you are even Jesus, who was based on what they are all saying Jesus like people doing that kind of thing, he healing what they still kill him.
Yeah.
After that time, they bust Jesus throat. So to rule for 40 years means that, well, I can't say that he was a very nice, like, rich man say like Father Ed. I can't say, because even if you're nice as far as the boss in your throat still. Gotta iron fist. To roll for 40.
But of course, I mean, but that is known. I don't study doctor that. I don't argue that with that. But that is known.
I would not come here and pretend that nothing wrong was done.
I don't think he was saying that the man was pure, or he purported to be pure. No. But he's speaking about the progressiveness. And listen, y'all talk about Heroes Day in Grenada, eh? Somebody was saying Gary deserves to be a hero because he's a father of independence. You cannot change that. He did so much for the working class, blah blah blah, whatever. But we can choose to also lean on what he used to. Well, I don't want to say things for me to get lost with it, but there are things that we say about Gary that are not nice. Does that mean that Gary didn't have good in him? Same thing about Maurice Bishop. Y'all, some people saying Maurice Bishop deserves to be a hero. Others saying they did what? The Rastafarians are saying what they did to them. Does that mean that there was no good in them or that they were not progressive? I believe, having done a bit of studies with communism and this kind of thing in them, there comes a time when you have to make hard decisions, and I'm not saying that I agree with the atrocities and stuff like that, but there comes a time when you have to make hard decisions for the good, the long-term good. And you see that happening right now, today, with Ibrahim Traore. You see them making hard decisions for the good of the nation. And right now, the people's eyes are open, and they are seeing the benefits, and they are seeing their value as African people and not as second-class citizens. So in everything, hard decisions get made. Sometimes you have situations where people feel you're against the progress, so they confine you. Is it right? No, because people are supposed to have their opinion and be able to move to suit. But guess what? The powers that be at the time think that you are a negative towards progress, so they confine you. You are a casualty of the progress track.
Reece,
What?
Reece, I'll finish for tonight because we pass over time.
Yeah.
No one is either good all the time or bad all the time. We all are either good sometimes we bad. How we judge whether we good or bad is we take the sum total.
It is sum total on the balance sheet on the scale.
And we wait.
But not the sum total by Western media. That's the difference.
So this is
not the sum total according to Western media.
So this is why some people will tell you that Gary was bad. Because when they weigh the sum total of the good and the bad is knocking down the scale. So they say Gary bad.
It's relative.
Some people
it's subjective, sorry.
Good and bad. It's the same thing Godfrey does do. And when he weigh, based on his thing,
nobody. But Bishop mash up the scale is just tip it up. The scale mash up. Right?
So there is no.
That's when. Hold on. I must come in here. After that, that's when they start moving to digital scale. You know, after Bishop.
While Bishop good mash up the scale. So I will consider Bishop as good. So there's probably only thing we could say what do have good in it maybe is cockroach. I don't know. I don't find cockroach.
But no,
everything else.
Anyway, I think we didn't do a good job of what we were supposed to do tonight. So next week we need to kind of, I think during the week we need to probably script this thing properly on the chat and get it, because there's so much to talk about. I mean, the diet, for example. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about, the different methods of their preparation, all of that, and so I think we need to settle during the course of the week, have it scripted properly so we can have a nice flowing, and go with the thing.
You're trying to be a dictator. That's what you're trying to do. You are trying to be a dictator.
So it's got a fee. Not because Dion Livingston does call me. Dion Livingston does call me.
Free.
That's how he does call me. Livingston does call me God free. So it's so
God free.
Finley, I get the tip. And it's done.
Yeah, well, I don't even know which tape. And Reece, let me tell you something.
I don't know the tape too.
You had a Rasta used to hide on the chicken.
Not just chicken.
Used to hide on the chicken.
But they sweet John Crow too. They say that in John Crow.
But there are Rastafarians that eat meat.
So, would you consider them to be Rastas?
There are Rastafarians.
No, man, they can't eat meat, man.
No question.
No.
Yes.
If you're a Rasta, you can't eat meat.
Yes.
Yes. There are denominations. There's 12 tribes. There's Nabingi.
Anyway.
There's Orthodox, I think they call it.
Anyway, we have to wrap it. We go do the thing. We go do the thing proper. Reece, take it 30 seconds and
Right. So what I want to do is that I want to go out on a limb here and say that I sat with panelists tonight who are not very informed and old-fashioned in their thoughts, and some of them have not changed, and some of them are dictators in their own right. They subscribe to white Western media, and they represent part of the mental slavery that black people are going through as local as in Grenada and as far as back to the motherland. And I'm disappointed. So I'm looking forward to next week's program. Actually, if it's Friday, I'll be there, but if it's Thursday, I won't.
Nah, it would have to be Friday. Coming back, we did say, yeah. So,
I'm heading to Caracol Thursday night.
Yeah, so right. It'd have to be Friday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, so I'm looking forward to next week's program where I get a different kind of attitude. More research having been done, so a more informed panelist, and one that is less abusive. We're celebrating 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And I find like a bit of gender-based violence happening on that show tonight. I find so. That I rest my case. Thank you.
Doc. Now let me jump in.
Yeah.
Reece, all I have to tell you tonight, God is love.
Doc, take it 30 seconds here.
Well, I mean, we passed the time, so I just want to, Frederick, just big up Frederick, hail him all for the day, and wishing Eugene Liquish a happy birthday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Guys, next week we see again. As that we hope we could structure it a little bit more and delve in the areas we didn't touch on as it relates to this most powerful and all-encompassing movement in Rastafarianism. And we hope next week, as we see, to embrace the teaching, the goodness of Muammar Gaddafi and Haile Selassie. Yes, I.
And Ram Gonzalez.
Yellow is the code. Yellow is the code. No red.
A great man.
Yeah?
Gonzalo was a great man.
Gonzalo is the greatest. All that good thing Gonzalo do, and they don't make jokes. They still don't make jokes.
Godfrey, when you wear Gonzalo,
no, Gonzalo way good man.
The sum total.
No, Gonzalo way good. Gonzalo way good, he way good. Yes, way the man build airport, he build port, he build all kind of thing. The only problem there was 80 years to working with a Vincent Sean, but that 80 years to work it.
And I want to ask you the sum total of Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell.
I'm doing.
The sum total. Like you're choking. The sum total.
Dr. Keith? Right now, the only thing, one advisor for Dr. Keith right now, he needs to give our beloved Prime Minister some lessons in dancing. That is it. End of story. So
I think he should give Evelyn some respect. Let her make her decision.
What decision?
Well, she's the leader of the opposition. You can't go in parliament and it's about aye. You have a leader of the opposition.
For she to go and make job decision.
That's what I'm arguing you.
I'm stronger.
My dark had to teach Deacon how to dance, and it's that. Nevertheless, I like to see whether they can do the one drop and thing. He call for earful music and doing the one drop. Enough respect.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we out of time. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. All the best.
Bye.
Very, very busy time of year in the US and elsewhere.
A little more calypso, forget the fountain, the disco.